Space never screamed. That was the first thing Captain Elena Ward noticed when the alarms started to fail. On the bridge of the human heavy ship Atlas Grip, every system was still running. Power was stable. Navigation was clean. Life support showed green across the board. And yet, something felt wrong. It's not broken, not damaged, just wrong. Outside the forward viewport, the stars looked the same. To normal, Alina had learned long ago that when space looks normal during a crisis, it means you are already late. Repeat that reading, she said calmly, her voice steady enough to hide the tightening in her chest. The sensor officer swallowed and ran the scan again. Same result, Captain. No radiation spike, no debris, no energy discharge. Listening post 9, just stopped. Stopped was not a word that belonged in space. Listening post 9 was not small. It was not fragile. It was a reinforced deep space station built to survive cosmic storms, pirate raids, and system failures. It did not simply vanish. Could it be a relay fault? Someone asked quietly. Alina did not answer. She pulled the raw data onto her personal screen. Not the cleaned reports. Not the summarized charts. The raw stream, messy, noisy, honest. Most species trusted processed data. Humans trusted the mess. At first glance, it looked like static, random noise. The kind that made scientists shrug and blame interference. But Alina stared longer. Her eyes followed the curves instead of the numbers. There it was. A pattern. Not perfect. Not mathematical. But intentional. Navigation, Alina said softly. Plot the last known vector of post 9. The star map shifted. A thin glowing line appeared. Now, overlay listening post 8. She added another line. Then 7. Then 6. The bridge grew quiet. The lines did not scatter. They aligned. Those stations weren't random targets, the navigator whispered. There. In a line, Alina nodded. A path. Across the human sector of the Coalition station, alarms began to echo as delayed reports arrived. Confusion spread fast. The Coalition command labeled it a spatial anomaly within minutes. A rare gravitational phenomenon. Dangerous, but natural. Natural things did not move with purpose. Alina stood from her chair. Engineering, she said. I want a full power readiness check. Structural field priority. Gravitational anchors. On standby. A pause. Then the engineer's voice came back, careful. Captain, those systems are for containment operations. Mining catastrophes? Rogue mass events? Yes, Alina replied. And hunting. That word landed heavy in the air. On the Coalition side of the station, Species argued politely. Chiari analysts debated probability curves. Jinshi commanders requested more data. Rethnal generals discussed fleet positioning. No one mentioned fear. Humans rarely announced fear either. They prepared. A junior officer leaned closer to Alina. Captain, Coalition Command hasn't issued deployment authorization. Alina kept her eyes on the map. They will. After they lose something bigger. As if the universe had heard her. A new alert flashed red. Science vessel, inquisitive light. Signal lost. Gasps erupted across the shared command channels. That ship had been sent to observe the anomaly from a safe distance. Safe distances were guesses. Alina closed her eyes briefly, then she opened a private channel. Chief, she said. The screen flickered, revealing Marcus Ahale, chief engineer of the Atlas Grip. His face was lined, tired, and calm in the way only people who expected trouble ever were. "She's ready," Marcus said before she could ask. "You felt it too, didn't you?" Alina allowed herself a small, grim smile. "I did." "Space feels thick," Marcus continued. "Like it's holding its breath?" "That's because something else is breathing," Alina said. Silence hung between them. Finally, Marcus exhaled. "Orders? Bring us the quiet launch," Alina replied. "No broadcast, no lights, no ceremony." She ended the call and looked around her bridge. Every face was focused. No panic. No bravado. This was not their first impossible situation. Outside, Coalition Command finally acknowledged the second loss. The tone shifted. Words like unknown, hostile, and threat vector began appearing. Too late, Alina sat back into her command chair. "Helm," she said, her voice low and firm. "Plot intercept along the Anomaly's path. Keep us ahead of it." The navigator hesitated. "Captain, that puts us directly in its way." "Yes," Alina said. "That's the point." The Atlas grip drifted free from the station, heavy and ungraceful compared to the sleek alien ships around it. No elegant curves. No refined beauty. Just mass. Armor, anchors. A ship built not to flee storms, but to grab them far ahead. In the darkness between stars, something shifted course. For the first time since it had entered Coalition space, the Anomaly changed direction. It was no longer hunting stations, it was following the human ship. The moment the Anomaly changed course, Captain Alina Ward knew one thing for certain. It had noticed them on the bridge of the Atlas grip. The air felt heavier, as if the ship itself sensed what was coming. Consoles hummed a little louder. Metal groaned softly under stress that had no visible cause. "Confirm vector change," Alina said calmly. The sensor officer's fingers trembled as they worked the panel. "Confirmed, Captain," whatever that thing is. "It's no longer following the station line. It's adjusting to us." A quiet curse passed through the bridge. Most Coalition ships were fast, elegant, built to strike from afar or retreat quickly. The Atlas grip was none of those things. It was slow, dense, built like a fist instead of a blade, and now something ancient and invisible was chasing it. "Helm," Alina ordered. "Maintain speed. Do not evade." The navigator looked up sharply. "Captain." It's testing us," Alina said, eyes fixed on the dark ahead. "Running only teaches it we're prey." She opened a priority channel to Coalition Command. Holographic figures appeared one by one: Kiari admirals, Jinshi tacticians, Rethnal warlords. Their voices overlapped with concern. "Captain Ward, explain your unsanctioned maneuver. You are drawing the Anomaly closer. This is illogical behavior." Alina waited until they quieted. "You lost the listening post?" she said. "Then a science vessel. Both from a distance you thought was safe." Silence. "This is not an anomaly," Alina continued. "It is a moving entity. It changes course. It reacts. And now, it's reacting to us." Admiral Anel, the Chai Fleet commander, folded his long hands. "Your conclusion is based on pattern interpretation, not proof." Alina brought up the star map and overlaid the data. "Predators don't rush," she said. "They test, they isolate, they learn." The map showed it clearly now. Small course corrections, adjustments that matched the Atlas grip's movements with disturbing accuracy. "It's pacing us," someone whispered. Anol's harmonized voice lost some of its calm. What is your recommendation, Captain? Alina didn't hesitate. Let it catches. The reaction was immediate. Outrage, objections. Fear thinly disguised as logic. You are proposing sacrifice? That ship will be destroyed. This is unacceptable. Elena leaned forward slightly. You've already sacrificed to crews by pretending this thing obeys your equations, she said evenly. I'm offering you something different. What? Anel asked. A boundary, Elena replied. Something that pushes back. Before the debate could continue, a new alarm sounded low, deep. Almost felt more than heard. Engineering. Captain, Marcus Hale's voice came through strained but steady. We're registering localized gravity pressure on the hull. Not enough to damage us yet, but it's leaning. Leaning. As if something massive was pressing closer, curious. The stars ahead of the Atlas grip bent slightly, stretching like reflected light on disturbed water. Several officers stared in silent horror. That thing is bending space just to look at us, the navigator whispered. Alina felt it too, pressure behind her eyes, a sense of being weighed. Measured engineering, she said. Bring up the inertial anchors. Marcus hesitated. Captain, those were never tested against a live target. They were tested against collapsing moons, Alina replied. This is smaller. No one laughed. Heavy systems engaged. Deep within the Atlas grip, massive gravitic stabilizers powered up, locking the ship's mass into space itself. The pressure increased, then stopped. The anomaly pulled. The ship held. For a brief, terrifying moment, nothing happened. Then the anomaly recoiled. The star snapped back into place. On the bridge, someone let out a shaky breath. It reacted, the sensor officer said in awe. 4. The sensor officer said in awe. Catnet pulled away. Alina allowed herself one slow inhale. Good, she said. That means it can feel resistance. Coalition command went quiet. For the first time since this began, the humans were no longer the only ones watching in fear. They were watching with interest. Admiral Anel finally spoke again, his voice lower. Captain Ward. What exactly is your ship designed to do? Alina looked at the dark ahead, where the thing now circled at a cautious distance. To grab problems the universe doesn't want to admit exist, she said. And not let go. As if offended, the darkness shifted again. This time, it did not retreat. It spread. Multiple gravity distortions appeared, surrounding the Atlas grip from several angles. It's changing tactics, Marcus warned. Captain, it's trying to tear us apart instead of pulling us in. Elena's hands tightened on the chair. Then we escalate, she said quietly. She leaned forward. All stations, she announced. Prepare for first contact. Not with weapons, but with force. The first thing Captain Alina Ward noticed was the silence. Not the calm kind. The wrong kind. On the bridge of the Atlas grip, every system was active. Every screen alive, yet the background hum of space felt muted, like the universe itself was holding its breath. Then the pressure hit not as an explosion, not as a pull, but as a twist. The ship groaned from bow to stern. Metal protested in long, aching sounds that made several crew members instinctively brace themselves. Multiple gravity vectors confirmed. The sensor officer said, voice tight. They're intersecting around us. Alina leaned forward. It's not trying to eat us. Marcus Hale's voice crackled from engineering. No, Captain. It's trying to tear us. Outside the forward view, space warped in overlapping ripples. Invisible forces twisted against one another, squeezing the Atlas grip from directions that should not have existed at the same time. A sleek Coalition cruiser would have already snapped. The Atlas grip bent. Its hull flexed. Armor plates shifted, by microns designed for exactly this kind of abuse. Inertial anchors holding at 83%, Marcus reported. But if it increases pressure, we're going to feel it. Personally, Elena nodded once. Good, she said. Then it's committing. On the command channel, Coalition officers shouted in rising panic. Captain Ward, disengage immediately. This stress exceeds theoretical tolerances. You cannot wrestle physics. Elena cut the channel. Not because she didn't hear them. Because she did. Tactical, she said calmly. Bring the mass drivers online. The tactical officer hesitated. Captain. Against what target? Elena pointed at the distortion on the screen. That one. Then the one next to it. But there's nothing there. Exactly, Elena replied. Hit the nothing. The anomaly shifted again. One of the distortions pulsed stronger than the rest. Marcus inhaled sharply. Overcomes. Captain, it's focusing. That one vector is sinking with our core mass. The deck tilted hard left. Crew members shouted as gravity lurched sideways. Hold positions. Elena snapped. Do not fight the motion. She felt it then. A pressure in her chest. A deep, primal sense of being measured. The thing wasn't just testing the ship, it was testing intent. Tactical. She said again, quieter now. Fire. One deep mechanical thump echoed through the ship. The mass driver round did not explode. It didn't flash, it simply vanished into the distortion for half a second. Nothing happened. Then space screamed. Not sound motion. The distortion buckled, folding inward violently, as if struck by something solid for the first time in its existence. The pressure on the Atlas grip dropped suddenly. Crew members stumbled as gravity snapped back to normal. It reacted. The sensor officer shouted. Captain, it felt that. Elena allowed herself a thin smile. Of course it did, she said. Mass doesn't care if you're alive or not. The anomaly recooled, then surged forward. Hard. Every distortion collapsed into a single crushing force. Alarms wailed. Marcus shouted, no longer hiding the strain. Structural integrity dropping. 65%. Captain, it's going to try and compress us. The stars ahead stretched violently. The view became a tunnel of warped light. Elena's vision blurred as her body fought conflicting forces. She clenched the armrests. Anchors to maximum, she ordered. Feed everything. Into resistance. That'll burn half the grid. Marcus warned. Then we burn it, Elena said. Now, deep within the Atlas grip, systems never meant to run together, screamed to life. The ship dug into space. Not moved through it. Dug into it. The compression slowed. Then stopped. The anomaly strained, and for the first time, hesitated. Coalition. Command forced their channel back open. What are you doing? Admiral Anel demanded, disbelief bleeding into his voice. Your ship should be destroyed. Elena kept her eyes on the distortion ahead. Then he hasn't tried hard enough yet, she said, as if offended. The darkness expanded. Something massive shifted just beyond visibility. Not a ship, not a weapon, a presence. The sensors finally locked. Something real, the display resolved into a pulsing mass of gravity. So dense, it distorted the readings around it. At its center a rhythm. Slow, heavy, intentional, thump, thump, thump. The bridge went silent. Marcus whispered, "Captain." "That's not physics." Alina felt a chill crawl up her spine. "No," she agreed softly. "That's a heartbeat." The anomaly wasn't defending territory, it wasn't drifting, it was hunting. And now it had decided the Atlas grip was worth killing. Alina straightened in her chair. "All stations," she said. "You're about to see why humans build ships like fists." She locked her gaze on the pulsing darkness. "Let's teach it pain." The heartbeat changed. It was faster now, sharper. Angry Captain Alina Ward felt it through the deck. Through her bones, through the command chair bolted into the heart of the Atlas grip. The ship was no longer just under attack. It was being challenged. "Captain," the center officer said, voice shaking despite himself. "The anomaly is adjusting. It's matching our resistance pattern." Alina exhaled slowly. "Then, it's learning." That sentence made the bridge go very quiet. Marcus Hale's voice came over, comes, tight, but steady. "If it adapts fully, we won't win at a good war." "We're not trying to," Alina replied. "We're trying to hurt it." The gravity pressure surged again, slamming down like a giant invisible fist. Several crew members cried out as the deck buckled under their boots. Structural warnings flashed red across every screen. Inertial dampeners at 60%. Tactical shouted, "Captain, we're running out of margin." Alina didn't raise her voice. "Tactical," she said. "Switch targeting from distortion fields to the pulse center." "Captain," the officer hesitated, "that's the densest point." "Firing their risks, I know," Alina said. "Do it anyway." Outside the ship, the darkness shifted again. The pulsing mass of warped space contracted, pulling itself tighter. Like a muscle preparing to strike, the heartbeat slowed. Thump, thump, thump. Then it accelerated violently. "Fire," Alina ordered. The second mass driver round slammed forward. This one didn't vanish cleanly. For a split second, it became visible, flattened, stretched, crushed before detonating inside the gravimetric core. Space twisted. A shockwave rippled outward, bending stars into curved streaks. The Atlas grip was thrown backward like a kicked stone. Crew members slammed into restraints as alarms screamed. But the pressure dropped. Not vanished. Dropped. It recoiled. The sensor officer shouted, "Captain, readings show instability at the core." Marcus laughed, once short and sharp. "That thing didn't expect pain." The anomaly reacted not with subtle force. With rage. Gravity spiked violently on the starboard side. A section of the hull screamed as armor plates warped outward. "Captain," Tactical yelled. "It's trying to rip us apart asymmetrically." Elena's jaw tightened. "Marcus," she said, "how much power can you root into the anchors without cooking us?" A pause. Then, enough for one ugly move. Elena smiled. Grimly goop prep it. On the Coalition channel, panic spilled openly now. It's fighting back. The human ship is destabilizing the region. This is madness. Pull back. Admiral Annel's voice cut through the noise, strained but controlled. "Captain Ward, what is your intent?" Alina didn't look away from the screen. "My intent," she said calmly, "is to make it understand we are not prey." She leaned forward. All stations brace. The Atlas grip surged. Not forward, downward. The anchors engaged fully, biting into the warped fabric of space, like claws into flesh. The ship did not move. Normally it forced gravity around itself to obey. The Anomaly screamed again, this time in chaotic pulses. The heartbeat stuttered. Thump-thumped, HUMP. Therabody field destabilized. Chunks of distortion tore away from the main mass, collapsing into harmless ripples. It's bleeding energy. The sensor officer shouted. Captain, it's losing cohesion. The thing tried to flee. For the first time, it pulled away. Stars stretched as the creature attempted to fold space and escape. Alina saw it, Marcus, she said softly. Now, in engineering, Marcus Harley slammed his hand onto the manual override, releasing anchor surge. The Atlas grip lurched violently as stored. Gravitational energy discharged outward through the anchor field. Not a beam, a shock. The pulse slammed directly into the Anomaly's core. The heartbeat spiked, then it broke rhythm. The darkness folded inward sharply, collapsing in on itself like a wounded beast trying to curl away from pain. The pressure vanished entirely. The Atlas grip floated free. The bridge fell silent, except for labored breathing and cooling systems winding down. The Anomaly shrunk into a smaller, unstable knot of warped gravity. It's retreating, Tactico said, stunned. Captain, it's running. Alina watched the darkness pull back, slipping into the void between stars. She didn't celebrate. Log its vector, she ordered. It will come back. A heavy quiet settled. Marcus exhaled, loudly over comes. Captain, we just punched something that eats warships. Alina nodded once. Yes, she said. And it learned we bite back. On the Coalition channel, Admiral Anel spoke again. His voice changed. Not dismissive, not logical. Cautious. You engaged an unknown cosmic entity and forced it to withdraw, he said slowly. By Coalition analysis, that should not have been possible? Alina leaned back, exhausted but focused. Admiral, she replied, humans don't wait for permission from monsters. She glanced at the damage reports scrolling across her console. We survive first, she continued. Then we figure out how to kill what tried to eat us. Outside the viewport, space slowly returned to normal. But every person on that bridge knew one truth now. The universe had noticed humanity, and it was afraid. Silence followed the battle. Not the calm kind. The heavy kind that comes after something. Impossible has happened. On the bridge of the Atlas grip, no one spoke for several long seconds. Consoles flickered back to stable readings. Gravity normalized. Stars returned to their proper shapes. But no one relaxed. Captain Elena Ward slowly unclenched her hands from the command chair. Her gloves were damp with sweat. Damage report, she said. Tactica cleared his throat. Hull breaches sealed. Anchor areas overheated but intact. Structural integrity at 68%. Engineering came in next, Marcus Holly sounding. Exhausted, but alive. We lost 2 auxiliary reactors and 1 gravitic stabilizer. She's wounded, Captain Pashifla. But she fly. Alina nodded. Good enough. Across the Coalition command channel, voices overlapped in panic and disbelief. That thing retreated. No known force has ever. This changes everything. Admiral Anel did not speak immediately. When he finally did, his voice was careful. Captain Ward, he said, the Coalition requires a full explanation. Alina didn't smile. With respect, Admiral, she replied, you don't require one. You witnessed it. She stood from her chair and faced the central display, now showing the fading vector of the Anomaly's retreat. That entity hunts, she continued. It tests. It feeds. And today, it learned something new. Her eyes hardened. That not everything runs. The channel went quiet. Around the bridge, the crew exchanged looks. They all felt ethers shift. The invisible line that had just been crossed, moments later. The emergency council convened. Holographic figures filled the command chamber aboard the Coalition station. Admirals, generals, scientist species from across known space. They all looked shaken. Admiral Anel addressed them. The human vessel engaged the anomaly directly, he said. It survived. More than that, it forced withdrawal. Jinshi. War Commander leaned forward. You're saying the humans injured it? Elena spoke before Anel could answer. Yes, she said. And it will remember. A ripple of unease spread through the chamber. One Kiari scientist asked, voice thin, Captain, can it be killed? Elena paused. She chose her words carefully. Everything. That can feel pain, she said, can be killed. That answer did not comfort them. Another voice rose, sharp and fearful. Then it will return stronger. Yes, Elena said calmly. That's what predators do. The council erupted into argument. We must fortify, we must evacuate, we must study. Elena waited that. Then she spoke again, louder. You're thinking like prey. Silence slammed down. You want to hide, she continued. To run, to build walls, and hope the dark passes you by. She looked directly at Anel. It won't. She tapped the display, pulling up trajectory data. It didn't retreat randomly. It adjusted course. It learned where resistance exists. Marcus's voice cut in from engineering. Grim, Captain's right. It didn't flee blind. It disengaged. Clean. Elena nodded. Which means next time, it won't test gently. Anel's harmonic tone wavered. What do you propose? Elena didn't hesitate. We hunt it, she said. The chamber exploded with protest. Impossible. Madness. Provocation. Elena stood still until the noise died. You already tried ignoring it, she said. You tried studying it. You tried overwhelming it. Her voice lowered. All of that fed it. She let the words sink in. The only reason we're alive is because we did something different. We fought like it fight, stubborn and angry. She took a breath. You don't need better weapons. You need anchors. Traps. Pressure. Control. The Chiari scientist whispered, You speak as if you have done this before. Elena's lips curved faintly. We have. Memories flickered in her eyes. Wars, disasters, monsters of flesh and metal. Humanity had never been the biggest. Never. The strongest. But it had survived everything that tried to erase it. Anel lowered his head slightly. What would you need? He asked that Elena answered without pause. Authority, resources, and time. A pause? Time for what? The Ginshi commander demanded. To prepare, Elena said. Because the next time it comes? She looked straight into the chamber. We don't scare it away. Outside the station, the Atlas grip drifted silently. Scarred and battered? Repair drones crawled across. Its hull like ants on a wounded giant. Crew members worked without complaint. They all knew what this ship had become. Not just a weapon. A warning. Far away, in the deep dark between stars. Space folded softly. The anomaly did not roar. It did not lash out. It watched. Its rhythm had changed. Slower, now measured learning. The galaxy had struck it once. Next time, it would strike back. The anomaly returned sooner than anyone expected. No warning, no slow approach. No test this time. It came straight in. Every listening post along the outer rim went dark in the same second. Not destroyed, not exploded, just gone. The star maps showed empty space where stations had been moments before. On the bridge of the Atlas grip, alarms howled as space itself began to bend. Lieutenant Shaw's voice shook. "Captain, it's not one signal. It's splitting." Elena Ward stepped forward, eyes locked on the display. The black void ahead fractured into 3 moving gravity storms, circling each other like hunting beasts. "It learned, Marcus," Holler said quietly from engineering. "It adapted." The Coalition fleet formed behind the Atlas grip, hundreds of ships holding position at what they believed was a safe distance. Elena knew better. "Open all channels," she ordered. Her voice carried across every ship, every species. "This is Captain Elena Ward of the Atlas grip. You are not facing a storm. You are not facing a force of nature." She paused. "You are facing a predator." Silence followed. "Predators don't retreat forever," she continued. "They test. They learn. And when they come back?" Her eyes hardened. "They come to kill." One of the Coalition admirals spoke, fear barely controlled. "What are your orders, Captain?" Elena did not look away from the void. "Hold position," she said. "And don't fire unless I tell you." Protests erupted instantly, but she cut through them. "If you charge it, you feed it. If you run, it hunts you." She raised her voice. "But if you hold, it has to deal with us first." The anomaly surged forward. Gravity screamed. Several Coalition ships were torn apart instantly, crushed like metal paper balls. Before anyone could react, the fleet panicked. Weapons fire lit space, lasers, plasma, missiles. The shots vanished into the distortion. "Doing nothing, cease fire." Elena shouted, "Too late!" One of the anomaly fragments lunged, swallowing a cruiser hull. Screams cut off mid-transmission. The Atlas grip shook violently. Marcus yelled, "Captain! If it gets closer, it'll rip us apart." Elena nodded once. "Good," she said. Marcus froze. "What?" "Bring all anchor systems online," Elena ordered. "Every tether. Every gravitic clamp." Lieutenant Shaw stared at her. "Captain, that will lock us in place." "Yes," Elena said calmly. "That's the point." The Atlas grip fired. Not weapons, anchors. Massive gravitic tethers slammed into space itself, biting into the anomaly's core distortion. The ship screamed as forces beyond physics pulled at it. From every direction, hull plates buckled, consoles shattered. Crew members were thrown against restraints. Marcus roared over the comms. "We're going to tear in half." Elena gripped the command rail. "Hold," she said. The anomaly reacted. Not with rage, with confusion. For the first time, it couldn't move freely. Its gravity pulses spiked wildly. Elena saw it then. The rhythm, the heartbeat. "Target the pulse," she ordered. "Synchronize." The Atlas grip's systems strained as human engineers did what humans always did. They broke rules. Instead of firing energy outward, they inverted the flow. They pushed pressure into the pulse. One strike, timed perfectly. The effect was immediate. The anomaly, convulsed. Its 3 fragments collapsed inward, smashing into each other violently. "Space!" screamed. Reality twisted. The Coalition fleet watched as the monster folded into itself. Its gravity tearing its own structure apart. Sound came across every sensor, not noise, pain, then silence. The void went still. Stars snapped back into place. The pull vanished. The anomaly was gone. Not retreating, not hiding, gone. On the bridge of the Atlas grip, lights flickered back to normal. Smoke drifted through the air. No one spoke. Finally, Marcus exhaled. "Captain, it's dead." Alina slowly let go of the rail. "Yes," she said softly. "It is." Across Coalition space, stunned silence turned into disbelief. Then awe. Admiral Linnell finally spoke. His voice unsteady. "You destroyed it," he said. "A being beyond our science." Alina looked at the ruined displays, the battered hull, the exhausted crew around her. "No," she replied. "We didn't destroy it." She met his gaze. "We taught the dark something." She stood straight. "That some prey bites back." Later, as the Atlas grip limped home, every Coalition ship turned to face it. No cheers, no words, just respect, in deep space, far beyond sensors. Something else listened. Something older. Something watching. And for the first time in the history of the galaxy, it hesitated. Because now the dark knew the name of the species that hunts monsters: humanity.